Hey everyone, welcome back to the Section 214 podcast. I'm Hammer, also Lucas. Here with my co-host JS and Ascent.
Hmm.
It's been a pretty eventful 24 hours. Something that just happened really recently was a tie in the CFL. The Alouettes tied the
Yeah.
Stampeders 1919. That was pretty
Mm.
crazy. It delayed our recording a little bit. We didn't expect to be doing it this late, but that was a fun game or for tie enthusiasts. Um, the
Yeah.
not so fun part of the 24 hours happened almost 24 hours ago, the first 3 hours of that. It was terrible. The Lions lost 33 to 17. I was there. I suffered through the whole game. It sucked. But when I told my dad that I was going to podcast tonight, he told me that I should say the Lions sucked. They were the suckiest bunch of suckers that have ever sucked. Quote Homer Simpson.
Yeah. And
Last night,
I'll say
I
that we played less like ferocious lions and more like house kitties that were just born, right? It was just there's no
fight.
ferocity. You just
No, nothing.
where was the offense, right? Just
Where was the
No
uh
team that
roar.
put up like 70?
Someone froze.
75 points in the last two games? Where was that team?
Oh boy. Yeah, last night I tweeted out that this was the worst game I've attended in my life, and I got a couple retweets and likes from other Lions accounts. I think
mm,
people in my section would say so as well. My dad, who's been a season ticket holder recently, he said this was one of the worst games he's ever attended. He might have a short-term memory loss because there was a pretty bad game last year as well. But
I
yeah.
remember it.
I think in terms of
Yeah,
performance,
we
this was the
all of us
worst.
attended that one. Yeah, that was the first Section 214 meetup there. That was the uh
Yeah, so that was worst in terms of like stakes, but in terms of performance, today was definitely the worst. Like I have when he said that this sucked, like this, no
It
better way to
really did.
describe it. They didn't show up.
pretty much. I
The
mean,
score is flattering. It looks like a 16-point game, which you think, oh, that's two possessions. That's fairly respectable. No, it was not.
it really should have been at least 45 points for Toronto, considering how they failed to score touchdowns in the first half. Right, it was. And I would like to say this before I get to the gut check too, that I'm wearing this is my protest hat from now on. This is the Douglas College uh Royals hat for their
Respect.
intramural
There you
team.
go.
Yet.
We
Uh,
love Douglas College. I
and
honestly thought that
of
looked like a
course,
Jacksonville Jaguars hat.
yeah, and of course they're named the Royals because that's Victoria has a bunch of has a team named the Royals with their baseball team, right? And
They do.
I am petitioning the CFL to put BC back into Victoria for the rest of the season because it seems like BC Place seems to have this weird black magic juju stuff that's like there's no offense in BC Place, right? Like where
Yeah.
um
I was lucky not to watch that Winnipeg game last month, but
It's
the
not good.
offense was so dry today, and we were so lucky to not go into the well. I felt like we were lucky to be down by only 9 points, but realistically, it should have been down by 2 points in halftime. There's so many things at play here. Like it was just terrible.
Just everything went
yeah.
wrong.
Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I mean, it wasn't just the. I mean, for gut check, I mean, it's not just the loss to a very beatable Eastern Conference opponent compared to the last two teams we beat, Ottawa and Montreal, right? Uh, Toronto's a very beatable team. I mean, they're I mean, at the time, yeah, they're at 500 and we're just above 500, and now we've kind of switched places. We're at 500 and they're slightly above 500 now. So yeah, it's just it's it I'm putting the title as I think this is just going back to bad habits, right? It's just an extremely frustrating loss after what was two. I mean the touchdown Victoria loss was pretty no, the touchdown Victoria win was great. It was blowout. It was never in doubt, and then the Montreal win was pretty hard fought. But then
Oh
I was
boy.
worried, me and JS. I mean, I think I could probably say that I was worried that that was a lot of emotional wins, and we were due for a letdown. And I didn't wear, I didn't really wear BC Lions stuff all that much. I did put my Lions hat on for a couple of the scoring drives, but then once Toronto got that that late first half touchdown, they just kept it off the rest of the way, and
That was exactly what you were expecting. Is just, I know they always want to look for, lots of intelligent analysis on our show, but I don't really have much to add for today. I'm just, if we had done this last night, it would have been like filled with rage and anger. Now it's just more kind of disappointment.
disappointment. Yeah, I mean, last night I would have been more like, okay, I'm worried that this team's not going to be good enough to win a playoff game at least, right? To beat the
If they play like
Bombers
that, they won't be good enough to host it.
or host it.
Sad
Yeah,
part.
this is what this is what we want. Like, we want the host of Western Conference final, but it's BC is just making it really hard on themselves to do that, right? And it's just extremely frustrating, this inconsistency, right? Just
They fall through a game and a half plus out of first place. They're 7-7. Winnipeg is 7-6, and Winnipeg's got a game in hand on the Lions and the tiebreaker.
I
So a
just
lot
wanted
of
to
things have
say
to go for BC's way to host the West Final.
my best bit of analysis is that the people in my section who would normally clown on other people for leaving early left early today. And with like 6 minutes left, there was no hope. The offense was so dead. And I felt entering the fourth quarter, there was no chance we were going to win that game. I somehow stuck through the end. It was not a fun watch at all. And
Yeah,
before
wasn't
the
there like
final
the
whistle, like,
saddest there
oh
was a kind
boy.
of a moment during the game you were able to do the saddest song and nobody had the energy to really sing along to it. It
Yeah,
was
so
yeah.
fourth quarter sing along, like before the fourth quarter starts, they do that. Jacob, you remember the song
Bohemian
name?
Rhapsody, one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
Bohemian Rhapsody. It's so hype. Like all the crowd is singing it. Nobody was singing it today. Like that sums it all up. My
It just
best bit
felt
of
it must have
analysis.
felt like a funeral just
It really was.
man.
It was sad.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I mean, I just stood there in my room just watching the game. I mean, I was typing notes along too, but I mean, I didn't have any reaction. I just sort of went, "Am I'm getting too used to this kind of losing, right? I'm just
It was
I
it was
shouldn't
like
It's one of
be.
like
I
those.
should be angry."
it was like a
But
quote from Bohemian Rhapsody. At one point in the song, they sing the words, "Nothing really matters," and I think that's how everybody felt yesterday.
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess it's just me just getting older, and I'm not nearly as reactionary as I say as a teenager or just a younger adult. Right now, I'm just shrug my shoulders and go, okay, let's take this bye week. I mean, this felt like a loss that kind of feels like they're looking forward to a bye week. I mean, they did do a lot of east-west travel beforehand. I mean, a lot, right? Like back and forth, Ottawa, like to Ottawa, back to Victoria, and to Montreal, and then back home, right, over the span of a month. So
Hmm.
Rick Campbell said this was a much needed bye week, and I agree with him. And I think as a fan, that's also much needed bye week. I know we've had 2 wins in a row, but we've been sitting here a lot after losses, and it doesn't feel good doing this. So,
yeah,
going to be in a bit better
I
spirits next week.
Yeah, I do think that well, our bye-week episode will be the next one, right? And then we'll talk
It'll be
about
fun.
the game recap that I'll do near the end. But let's get into our statistics for the loss. So I'll start with the BC offense and here. So I mean, this was actually a unique game where all three quarterbacks came into this
When does
game,
that
right?
ever happen?
That's nothing to celebrate, though.
Nope.
No, no. I mean, usually when you have all three quarterbacks come in, I mean, it's there's an injury happening to the backup or just a backup plays poorly. But no, I think it was just, uh, it was just Rick Campbell just trying desperately to change something, and just Toronto's defense wasn't having it, and that proves it in the quarterback statistics. So Nathan Rourke went 6 for 12 for 110 yards, no touchdowns, and strangely no interceptions because the last 2 wins, I mean, he threw a bunch of interceptions, and here he no interceptions and a loss. What sense does that make?
I don't
Uh
know
I just want to correct. He did get a touchdown at the end of the second half, right?
who
no,
did.
that was Bryce.
Sorry,
No,
second
Rourke
quarter.
ran for one touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, he
And then
did,
he had
yeah.
that one drive at the end of
It-
so it's worth noting that
yeah,
The
right.
end of the
the end
second
of the
quarter.
second quarter, he had one drive, and that's where he got like 70 or 80 of his yards. So he
That's
realistically,
got
first
it.
5 drives had like 30 or 40 yards, which was very bad.
Okay.
No first downs.
Yeah.
Very
It-
little to
it-
talk about.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Correction. He had 1 touchdown, but I mean, it's kind of slipped my mind a little bit, but
I don't
it
blame
felt
you.
like he had
Or
0
who remembers
touchdowns.
that at this point?
Exactly.
But yeah, so yeah, no interceptions. I mean, 9.2 average per throw, and his longest was 40, and then he had like a 1 carry for 9 yards. And then Vernon Adams came in the third quarter, didn't do any better. Right, just 4 for 7 for 75 yards, no touchdown, and an interception, which I didn't see that you guys saw. um, at
Can't even remember it.
10.7 average, yeah, 10.7 average per throw. Longest was 35, and his again 1 carry on 7 rushing yards. And then Chase Bryce went in relief and went 2 for 4, 32 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions, and 8 average, and his longest was 24. So I mean, it was
He
just
was just
uh,
fine. He did the job for one drive.
yeah, Chase Bryce is a garbage time QB in wins and losses. uh, I guess it's advertisements for either the rest of the league or just any quarterback needy teams. But yeah, it's just all three. When all three come in, it's a bad day.
Yep.
In the one and in the running back category, I mean, Stanback, I mean, he got severely limited in this game too, right? He only had, I mean, he's been having 90 or 100-yard games recently, but this one he only had 6 carries for 21 yards, no touchdowns, and then 3.5 average of a run, um, and 1 catch on 2 targets for 17 yards. So I mean, that was
I just want to point out, so I go to games with my dad, and my dad doesn't like Stanback because he always plays really badly at BC Place, and he's been having good games in the last couple of weeks, but they've all been on the road and all that. Stanback just plays really bad at BC Place. Like there was one game in July, I think, against Saskatchewan where he got nothing going, and same thing in June. So I don't know what's up with him here. Maybe he'll play better when we're on the road.
Yeah, I guess. Well, yes, there is certain players do play better on the road. I mean, he had his one of his best games against Montreal. I mean, that was his former team, right? And they didn't sign him to a contract, and maybe if he's motivated by like revenge or something, that's when he's gets more yardage. But here, it's just like there's.
Yeah.
I mean, we were looking for revenge against Toronto for the first game of the season, right? And just didn't happen. So yeah. And Terrell also came in for some yeoman's work here too. For only 4 carries for 15 yards. So and a catch for target, a catch for 24 yards and a touchdown. So that was yeah.
Actually, some nice moves.
Uh, and then yeah, the receivers, Hollins only had 0 catches for 3 targets, but we'll get into well, I guess we can say it now. I mean, during the second quarter, he did fall down on an incomplete pass, and he got his shoulder injured, and he was out for the rest of the game. And
That was very sad to see.
That one breaks my heart because I know Holland's a fighter and he's so motivated at all times. Earlier this week when I was commuting to college, I actually saw him at US Station, and I wish I said something to him because I really love him as a receiver. Um, and he was in so much pain on the field. I think he separated his shoulder, didn't even go to the tent. He walked straight to the dressing room. So that was really sad to see, and I hope we can see him sometime this season again. So prayers to him. Hope he gets better.
yep, yeah. So I mean, for football reasons, I mean, yeah, we're down one of our best receivers here, and it's just, yeah, it's just, it's. I hope he gets back to playing soon, but I mean, I am expecting him to be out at least for probably the rest of the regular season. I mean, we'll see, but
Yeah, there's not many weeks
um,
left.
yeah, there's only a few weeks left, so I mean, they do need to start winning, but yeah, it's just uh and McInnes had 4 catches for 5 targets for 95 yards. 26 was his average, and his longest was 35. And yeah, McInnes had an okay game. I mean, yeah, it was as okay as you could expect. And then Hatcher had 3 catches on 8 targets for 59 yards, no touchdowns, and 19.7 average. Longest was 40. And this was the killer here. Aberhart, no catches, no targets. This is how you shut us down.
Really?
Do not
Oh,
do not make any of a quarterback's target ever and you win. uh, Katoy had 3 catches on 3 targets for 22 yards and 7.3 average and longer for 12. So yeah, it was just yeah, no eye popping receiving yards or receiving stats, right? And that's kind of been the theme of the Lions losses, right? Just no significant, man, especially if you lock the offense down in the first half. I mean, chances are you will win. I do remember watching this game and along with Ascent Senator's Discord moderator, and he was calling me crazy for saying the game was over by halftime. Right. And I said, I've seen the song and dance before. When the offense struggles at home bad, I just know they're gonna lose. Right. Just
And then that's what happened.
they did not make any adjustments, right? It was just on offense, it
And
was so
against
frustrating.
Hamilton last year. So we've seen that before.
Yeah. And then the defense, I mean, the defense did what they could. I mean, they did have 2 sacks. Tama and the combo had 2 sacks. You know, no fumbles, no interceptions, no turnover on downs. Which, I mean, I thought, you know, they should have really played a lot less zone coverage because I noticed they were getting burnt a lot on zone coverage, defensive plays. Right? I mean, the Argos were just relying on just short passes and just to really slice the defense up into just constant first downs. Right? And that's yeah, just Ely having 10 tackles, Varga with 9, and Rogamba with 7, Lee with 5, and then the rest of the team had less than 5. So I mean, yeah, there was a lot of tackling happening because of those short passes, right? And there was a lot of yeah, with a lot of seconds coming down here. So yeah. And special teams, I mean, don't want to rely on well, Toronto sure relied on their kicker, but Sean White only went 1 for 2 on field goals and 1 for 1 on extra points. So, I mean, I mean, he is like one of the best kickers in terms of accuracy, but it's kind of faltering a little bit here lately, right? I've noticed that. And then Flintoff has 7 punts, averaging 52.3 yards. Yeah, a lot of yeah, about probably like 6 of those are from 2 and outs too, right? So it's just
Also,
uh,
what about his highest punt?
yeah, well, I mean, I
Oh
put that in
yes.
the recap, but we'll say that Ben Major is at another funny moment. Like it's just Williams seeing this again because Flintoff in the second quarter as well. He punted the ball straight up into the
Hit the Jumbotron.
Speaker.
Jumbotron again. So
That was amazing. So fun to see in person.
yeah, he said the ball hit the scoreboard again.
That was funny.
I got that on video.
There's a reason why he's my favorite referee, and that's
Yeah.
it.
I still like Andre Prufer at a French accent, but just
Well, he's good too.
yeah, and then I guess to finish off the offense or the special team stats, I was surprised Williams still got another game there because we had just signed another kick returner. I believe he's let me go all the way back to the
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, could Terry's days be numbered? I was wondering if he was going to play this game, but I saw in the first return that Williams was back, and we were heavy critical of him when he was getting the ball.
yeah, it was Isaiah Wooden from Southern Utah. So I was wondering if Wooden was going to get some reps here, but I imagine he'll probably take another week, a bye week of practice just to see what he's capable of. Because yeah, Williams only had 5 return catches on special teams, 3 punt returns and 2 kickoffs for a total of 85 yards, with an average of 28 yards for kickoffs and 9.7 for punt return. So that's not good. That's normal Williams at this point. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll find out if Wooden replaces him as the kick returner duty for the Hamilton game. I mean, it would be a good game to test him on because again, it's the most beatable team possible in the CFL. Right later, but anyway, it's speaking of beatable teams that were frustrating to not beat. I guess we're going to Toronto for you two.
Who goes offense? Who goes defense?
I'll read the offense if you want.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, well, just all around, they played really well. So that's kind of the gist of it. Kelly, sorry, I was gonna say something about him, but then I decided not to. 18 for 28, 268 yards and a touchdown. So that's pretty good. 56 rushing yards on 10 carries and one touchdown for him. So yay, good for him. Happy for him. So
Yeah,
happy for him.
that's too bad.
Carey on the running back had 11 carries for 41 yards and 2 catches on 2 targets for 25 yards. So that was good.
Both running games were kind of average, but they didn't need the running back to win.
And I'm just gonna make sure I say this as Adebaboy. Did I say that right? Adebaboy.
Oh boy.
Adebaboye, yeah.
Adebaboy. Okay.
Oh boy.
9 carries for 34 yards. His longest was 9 yards. And then for the receivers, Polk 6 catches for 116 yards. 52 was his longest. Very good. Daniels made 4 catches for 71 yards. Longest 34. Another good game for him. Coxey made 2 catches for
Coxey.
21 yards. Coxey made 2 catches for 21 yards. And then, yeah, that's the offense. So all in all, they spanked us.
Onto the defense, which this stat passed the eye test. 7 sacks.
Seven sacks.
Goodness.
We're
Sacks.
back to 2019 O-line stuff here, which
boy.
I do not like that. I just
Whatever optimism that we had about the O-line the last couple of weeks, that is all gone. I honestly felt like we got sacked every drive, no matter if it was Rourke or Adams. There was even one instance of one of our own offensive linemen sacking our guy. It was brutal.
No, it was Adams actually ran into the O-line and sacked himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I couldn't see. I was at the game. I didn't see the replay, but
I watched the replay. Yeah, he ran into his own O-line. Right, that could have been a butt fumble of the CFL. Right, I would have been. That would have been
That's
just
wild.
either way, there was no reason for me to watch the replays this game. 7 sacks, Hawley with 3, Smith with 2, Sorensa and Parrish with 1 each. 1 interception for the Argos. No turnovers on downs, and everyone on the defense had less than 4 tackles. I don't want to go into that. It was traumatic. And on special teams, Harley um, he went 6 for 6 on field goals and 2 for 2 on extra points, and he was their most used player in the first.
almost half of the offense for the team.
I know. He provided more offense than the offense itself. In the first half, the Argos had
Actually,
12
18
points
points. Yeah.
for the majority of the first half. The Argos had 12 points, and that was thanks to him. We got very lucky that they didn't score any touchdowns until the end. Haggerty with 4 punts, averaging 49.5 yards. Janarian Grant, I hate him. I hate him because he's so good. 8 returned catches on special teams.
No hate
7
like
punt
envy.
No, hate like envy. I hated him on the Bombers. Now I hate him with the Argos. 7 punt returns for 140 yards. 1 kickoff return for 21. But what was his longest? Oh, on punt returns, 161 yards with an average of 20, with his longest of 80. That was terrible. Yeah, that gave me flashbacks
that
to
was
that
in the first
Winnipeg
half
game.
too.
Yeah, it was just when the offense just kept on coming, and felt like we were going to give up a touchdown inevitably, and then Grant just does that, and I think they were limited to a field goal. But then we all know what happened at the end of the second quarter. I get half and quarter mixed up so often.
I mean, the Lions got their wires mixed up yesterday, and it led to that result. So it's okay if we get mixed up too.
Penalties. Toronto took 4 penalties for 30 yards. BC took only 1 penalty for 10 yards. But that was a costly one. The 1 penalty in the game was an accidental pass interference, I think leading to a touchdown, and it had my whole section screaming. That was just bonkers.
We'll get into
Who was that?
That was
Ragumba?
that was the one where he challenged, saying it was not accidental.
Yeah, didn't really challenge that for not
Which
accidental.
I've never seen that before.
That revive.
He
There,
didn't
there
win.
were there were a few things in the game I've never seen before. Just of all the times. I mean, and now you've seen it in person, right? It's just
That was truly wild.
And speaking
I
of
didn't even know they could
challenges,
do that.
we'll hear the word challenge again within the first minute of the game recap. One more thing before that. I knew this would be horrific. I was saying this like third quarter and before I left the game in the fourth quarter. Time of possession is going to be horrific. I'm surprised it
I
wasn't
confirmed
worse.
it.
Yeah, 38 minutes and 25 seconds for Toronto, 21 minutes and 35 seconds for
Almost
BC.
2/3 of the game.
And I've been saying this, but I honestly think that BC had like 3 minutes of possession in the first quarter because we two and out at every drive. That's
Yeah,
it.
again, it's just a
Same.
frustrating commonality of their losses that, anytime when the offense is struggling, they're struggling badly, right? They have no momentum almost the entire game, and they're just giving the ball away to the other team. And I mean, this game, I mean, we should be blown out in like most of these games, right? 'Cause, I mean, they were being friendly, right? They were being Canadian. Just making the score look as close as it really should have been, right? But yeah, with just
Just
uh
good. All around terrible.
yeah,
Good jersey
and
matchup, by the way.
yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, I guess we're getting into game recap. I mean, again, I did write a bunch, but I did stop near the start of the fourth quarter. Like I was the one person that decided I've had enough of this. I'm just gonna turn the game off and wait for the final score to be read. But yeah, yeah, before I get to the game recap too, I mean, I'm going to say that I have immense props for you two for sticking through that whole game. Like wasting might have been like wasting your time. Might on uh,
Oh, it wasn't
I
wasting my time. It was just taking time off my life.
taking time off of your lives. Right,
Well,
I
I paid for my season ticket like 6 months ago, so it felt like this game was free and it was a pure waste of time. It's
should
not
you
like
should
I
have
wasted
you
money
should
or
have it refunded anyway. So
I should have it
Really
refunded. We
should.
deserve that. Also, I feel bad
uh,
for Rick Tocchet. He was at the game. We love Rick Tocchet,
oh
by the
yeah,
way. Go Canucks, go.
Talking.
I'd go Canucks. Yeah, oh, yeah, it's the two Ricks are in attendance now. So yeah, one of them being well, yeah, not now losing, and then the other just the loss happened months ago. Like just, uh, anyways, so yeah, in the game recap, I'll say that the 2000 Grey Cup champion Lions were honored for this game. Right, I thought that was a little bit of a bright spot, even though the game really didn't reflect it. Right, uh, didn't really thank them properly. Right, but the 2000 Grey Cup champion Lion, I have very, very faint memories of because around the year 2000 was when I started getting into sports, right? So, uh, yeah, that was yeah, they were one of the very first teams I remember watching other than the Senators back there, uh, um, yeah, so they were honored, and then also BC was in their gunmetal alternate jerseys, which they announced earlier in the day yesterday. And I'm a huge fan of them, and they're the only, or the Reebok versions of the gunmetal jerseys that I got were that's the only BC Lions jersey I have, and and I remember the game they debuted those alternate jerseys. There was a complete surprise to the fans and even the players. That was
My
in
dad told me about that.
2014. Yeah, that was in 2014, right? That was 10 years ago. That was a long time ago, but yeah,
So
they
funny how they
debuted that.
confused everyone.
I know, right?
Right? Yeah, we're like, oh, what are these jerseys? Holy, those look good. Yeah,
They do.
I really do.
yeah. So yeah, they brought those back, and unfortunately, didn't have the winning mojo in these ones. So, yeah,
No.
yeah. So, uh, I'm gonna probably I'm calling this the 2 and out quarter for us. I mean, just I mean, every time Toronto kept getting the ball, right? I mean, they would kick field goals, but it was either being sacked on second down or just incompletions every time. BC would just be constantly going 2 and out. Uh, I'm just looking through just for some moments.
They're real. Like, I know we don't say this, like, but like, really, in the whole game, there wasn't really a lot exciting. Like, if I want to get into like coaching tactics, Rick Campbell challenging that play right at the start of the game.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know. I
I
don't
thought
know
that
how
was
I feel in
ballsy, right? That was pretty ballsy of them, but I mean, I I
at
didn't
the
agree with challenging that like
at the
early in the
time. I
game.
thought it was good, but in hindsight, I'm like, even though you should challenge a play if you're
It
going to
was a
win a game,
PI,
you
yeah.
only get two per game. it's probably worth it to save it till later, especially that early on, and given that it was only going to be, a small penalty, and who knows where it would have gone, right? So I probably in the end would have left it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, PI challenges are kind of just very subjective, right? It's just
They really are.
yeah. I mean, you have to have it clear and obvious in every single angle to really confirm that it's PI, right? Yeah, it
Yep.
didn't happen. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it will. I mean, it really could have been Toronto up big time, but thankfully, even with -1 yards of net offense for BC in the first quarter, Toronto's lead was only 9-0 in the first quarter. Second quarter, well, in this quarter, yeah, it was the very beginning of the second quarter that Flintoff punted into the scoreboard with the
And hit the
funny
scoreboard
moment there,
again.
right? Yeah.
That was
Pull up
funny.
the clip on the recording or on the whatever the YouTube video. That was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
I'll put that up for sure. Just up here or there, wherever it is. Um, yeah. So yeah, BC did get some points finally. I mean, they did get their first down in the game after Toronto punted, right, to stop their scoring streak, and yeah, uh, BC had a decent looking drive to get a field goal to cut the lead to 9-3, right? Because that was Sean White's only field goal to make it 9-3, and then Toronto on their ensuing drive they attempted a flea flicker. There were a few flea flickers this weekend that failed, including the Calgary one that was in this fourth fight, but uh, it was actually here that Rugamba got flagged for accidental defensive pass interference, but then Ryan Dinwiddie, the coach for Toronto, challenged it for intentional PI, which me and Jacob, I mean, we've never seen that happen ever, to challenge an intentional pass interference over an accidental one, right?
I
I
didn't
mean,
even know that
both
was a
of
rule, honestly, but I guess it makes sense. I guess under the way the rule is written, it makes sense that that would be allowed.
But yeah, it was unsuccessful, like the Campbell challenge. So both coaches were unsuccessful on PI challenges for
And
different
I thought it was the
reasons.
right
Right?
call. I
Yeah,
really did, because accidental is when you basically trip the player with your legs, and that's exactly what happened. So I thought they got the call right.
yeah. So yeah, well, yeah. So even with that failed challenge, how Lowry was forced to kick a field goal to make it 12-3. Uh, yeah, and then BC goes 2-0 again, and I thought the referee missed a headshot penalty, like an unnecessary roughness penalty on the second down, but uh, I must have been the only one that saw that. But again, just when the offense is struggling as much as it had, I was desperate for any kind of forward progress, right?
Any kind of
Uh,
break is from a penalty.
yeah, and then yeah, craziness does happen in the last bit of the second quarter. I mean, Toronto does punt again, uh, and then BC gets the ball, and then Rourke gets sacked on first down. But McKinnis has a really good high point catch for 40 yards to convert for a first down. McKinnis ended up fumbling on a first down conversion, but okay, I should say that Aberhart didn't have any catches, but he did have a clutch moment where he recovered a fumble by McKinnis. Right, that was that was that
That
was
him.
his clutch moment, I guess. Right. It did end up with Rourke running the ball into the end zone to get the score to 12-10. That was the only moment of hope we had, right? Like we're going, okay, we have a game now, right? We should be able to hold, let's hold Toronto to nothing, and then we can go into halftime happier than when we did in the first
Yeah,
quarter.
basically, despite
Unfortunately,
it
Toronto
didn't
had other
happen.
plans.
I was like,
There
That
was
was
well,
frustrating.
they're gonna go into the half down only 2 points despite playing pretty poorly. That's a sign. It was not a sign.
No,
No,
no, yeah, it was for the second straight game. BC gives up a touchdown within within the final second of the half, right? So yeah, Toronto was just ended up converting constantly on first down, and then yeah, it was just Polk catching a wide open pass at the 10 with 6 seconds left in the half to extend the lead to 19-10. And yeah, that was yeah, it was just that
backbreaker.
one fleeting moment of hope, and then Toronto just backbreaker, right? Just right, you're dead.
We all knew at that point.
Yeah, yeah, I was at that point where I was saying that this game's over, and then the Senators Discord Ma just told me you're crazy. Like there's still time to come back, and I'm going. Have you seen this offense in BC place lately? Right?
It was
Uh,
over.
I knew it was over, and again, and once the third quarter started, yeah, it's just Toronto was doing enough to getting to field goal range to kick. Well, yeah, to get in the field goal range, and the defense was also playing fantastic, right? The Colorado does kick a field goal to extend the lead to 22-10. It was and it was at this point that I was a little bit confused because I saw that on the broadcast that both Adams and Adams was practicing throwing, but Work was still in his helmet, right? So I was wondering, okay, who's gonna start the who's gonna start the drive here? But it ended up being Adams coming out, and again, I get why Rick Campbell wanted to change it up, but just felt like I don't think it doesn't really matter who you put in a quarterback. I just think that Toronto was winning this game the way they were playing, right? And yeah,
Yeah. One player is
Adams
not going to fix
was
the offense, and sure enough, he didn't.
Adams was immediately fumbled on the handoff, and then he recovered, but yeah, there was a decent push. There was a few conversions, but then Adams gets sacked twice to end the drive. Right, it was an awful. O-line was awful because yeah, Adams was getting sacked for a loss of 12, and then another one. Right, it was just going backwards.
That
Uh,
was their worst drive of the game.
yeah, and on Toronto's subsequent drive, they do end up well, well, I mean, they were helped by BC's defensive injuries, which really started coming up here. Uh, I think, yeah, I mentioned that. Oh yeah, I did say that Holland. Actually, I forgot when Holland was injured, but I think he was injured in the second quarter. But yeah, this was where the defensive injuries started to come, and Chad Kelly ran it in himself to score another. Well, pretty much the further nail in the coffin TD to go up 29-10, and I was very pissed,
It was
very
already nailed
mad.
down pretty hard at that point.
Yeah, and then Williams on the kickoff, he fell backwards. I mean, I'm like, is everything bad gonna happen? Is the whole team gonna be injured? Is the fans gonna come out alive? Right? Just is are the football gods just like vindictive now? Right? Is Hammer gonna return home alive, or just uh there was
Yeah,
so much bad luck. I was convinced that lightning was gonna form above my house and strike me, right? Just some
let it be
final
known
destination thing, right? Yeah.
it was also the
Uh,
first game of the season where the roof was closed.
yeah,
So
because it was
Fine.
raining
yeah,
pretty heavily, right? That's why I said lightning might be forming
yeah.
above my head, right? Because it was pretty rainy.
You
uh,
asked me earlier if it was any windy inside the stadium. It was not windy in the stadium,
yeah,
so
yeah,
didn't
wind wasn't a
affect
factor,
Harlagu
but
at all.
no. Well, no, I mean with a dome stadium, I would imagine it's the air is controlled a little better, but uh, yeah, so yeah, on BC's last drive of the third quarter, Adams fumbled the ball on to Toronto, but thankfully there was illegal contact to make the drive survive. But then just I put Adams gets sacked by his own. Oh yeah, this was at the end of the third quarter, so a lot of funny things happening, like on the either the first play of the quarter or the last. But yeah, the last play of the quarter, Adams ran into his own O lineman to fittingly end the bad third quarter. I mean, I thought the first quarter was the worst, but the third quarter is like the second worst, right? Just by nothing, nothing happening for us and everything for Toronto. And then
It's like
fourth quarter, I'm sorry, so what were you gonna
I
say?
was about to say, like comparing how bad the second quarter was compared to the third is like comparing who was worse, Work or Adams, because they were just equally as bad.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and then in the fourth quarter, yeah, White missed the field goal, and Grant nailed the foot booze. I did do a little sarcastic cheer at the TV. I didn't say that in our group chat, but I did go, "Yeah, we got a point! Woo! Yeah, woosh!
That's how I felt as well.
Yeah." Um, Polk also had a career high in yardage, which the broadcast mentioned. I'm like, great. I mean, yeah, we said that in the stats, but yeah, Polk had a career high in yardage, and then uh, Kelly kind of just dinks and dunks down the field, but the drive stopped at the 40 to force Colorado to kick a 46-yard field goal to extend the lead to 32-11. And I said I got very close to stopping my note taking, depending on how the next drive goes. And then I said, thankfully, the Lions go 2-and-out to make that decision quickly. Right, unlike the overtime game, which I wanted to get a recording done like much earlier, but yeah, thankfully the Lions don't keep me staying too long, and then Campbell doesn't even go for it on third down, which I'm like, that's clearly waving the white flag, right? That's like, we're done, right? And
I
that's
think
when
to your equivalent of stop note taking is because I was at the game. I think that was around the 10-minute moment. I stopped paying attention. Like it was that
yeah, you were
laughable of a
talking to us, right?
performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was texting with you guys. I was looking at my phone for most of that quarter, and I was like telling some of my other friends, they're like, "How's work doing? How's Adam doing?" And I was typing there, and then we blocked the punt, and I didn't even know who had the ball. Um, we eventually got a touchdown to end the game, and it was that sarcastic
Twice with the
cheer.
garbage time touchdown, yeah.
It was a real sarcastic cheer. I mean, I stood up and I'm like, "We got points," but like,
Just like the Rouge.
yeah,
Yeah. And then
feel
I
good for
said,
myself somehow.
yeah, and then I said the final score pens. I was waiting for the game to be over so I can put the stats into our Google Doc. So, yeah, Argos wins 33-17 to go to up to 7-6. So yeah, they saved their season. I mean, they're probably looking to try and get into a playoff game with Ottawa. Right, that'll be something.
We are. I don't know where we are. The fact that the rest of the West is still so mediocre is the only
We're at
saving
7-7. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the only thing that keeps the Lions in contention for a home playoff game is that everybody else sucks too.
except for Winnipeg, they're on a winning streak, though. Right.
They'll probably win the West. You heard it here first, folks. They'll probably win the West as usual,
Hate
despite
it.
their slow start. And it's gonna be a West final in Winnipeg again, in all likelihood.
Again, and it'll be like, and we're gonna, and if BC is good enough to beat at least a West team and go into Winnipeg again and be like, we're gonna be the LA Kings of CFL, aren't we? We're gonna get beat by Winnipeg like 3 straight times.
Or
Hope we're
maybe
the
we won't. Maybe
hope we
to
slay the
slay the
dragon.
demons. Yeah, exactly. To slay the
Yes.
demons and make the Grey Cup at home, we have to win the West final in Winnipeg. Maybe that's how the story is gonna go.
This is like the ultimate Hollywood kind of way to win a Grey Cup. Like, you have to beat a big nemesis, right? Just finally on the road, and then come home and host and win the Grey Cup. But
Yeah, it's
it's looking like a pipe dream of how inconsistent the team is. But I don't know if this team, I don't know if this conference, I don't know if the league, right? I mean, the league is like, well, that Montreal's starting to struggle a little bit with. Well, I mean, they lost to BC last time, and then they tied with Calgary, like a team they should have beaten, right? But uh,
so many of them.
uh Ottawa losing, badly against Hamilton, right? Earlier today too. I mean, it's just there's no real. Well, Montreal is probably still the clear favorite, but I could see them getting upset, right? I mean, if they do have a kind of an effort like that against Ottawa or a West crossover team, which would be silly. It'd be funny if we could have like West versus West, and then the possible East champion would be like a West crossover team, right? That would be
Or
uh
even crazier, the results so far, like the Eastern crossover is still very much in play. Hamilton has 5 games left, a possible 10 points to gain. They're only 3 points behind Saskatchewan. So it's unlikely, but it's still, the East crossover at this point in the year is still very much alive. Who would have thought that, eh?
Who do
Yeah,
we play next? Who do we play
we play.
next?
No, after the bye week, it'll be Hamilton.
Yeah,
So
we play
that's
Hamilton next.
yeah, I did say that. Yeah, we'll finish off with talking about the. I mean, we did talk about the rest of the games that happened today. I mean, the Calgary game ended a few, an hour
Oh boy, yeah.
before we. Well, yeah, like a few minutes before we started recording. So yeah, we can talk about the week afterwards.
Which the Lions which are much deserved bye.
Bye week. So yeah, it'll be Ticats versus Argos. I think I do get.
That should
I
be a Toronto win.
That should be a Toronto win, but if the Tiger Cats win, I'm gonna be mad at Toronto. Like, oh, now you lose, right? There was nothing that angers me. There was nothing that angers me more than a team that just pushes you, pushes you in and destroys you, and then the next week they look bad, right? Just there was
Last
nothing
week,
that
the Red Blacks smashed the Argos, and we destroyed the Red Blacks in Victoria, and we got destroyed by the Argos today. So
that's a
this league works
try
in such mysterious ways.
The ultimate love triangle of the CFL.
or the hate triangle because yeah,
Hey, yes.
yeah, the Senko moderator did not like BC losing to Toronto, right? And I said, yeah, I didn't like it. I'm sorry. On behalf of the Lions, I'm sorry, Ottawa. So yeah, Ticats and Argos on Friday. Yeah, it'll be 2 Friday games. The Ticats and Argos game will be at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. And it'll go on at the same time as Rough Riders Stampeders at 6:30. It'll be 8:30 Central and then 7:30 Eastern
It'll
time.
be
So
7:30. Yeah, they haven't changed the clock back yet in Saskatchewan. Or no, we haven't. Saskatchewan doesn't change the clocks.
no, it's September. Yeah, it's September. Yeah, we don't change the clock until November. So yeah. So Rough Riders and Stampeders. I mean, I get the feeling the Riders are going to win that game just to finally break that losing streak they've been on since July. But I don't know who for that one. I mean, I guess the Stampeders, just to continue Saskatchewan struggles, but
So they're
I don't
never going to
know.
win again.
Yeah, and then Saturday this is the marquee game of the week Alouettes and Red Blacks, right? That's
Mhm.
the top 2 teams in the East, and then of course the top 2 teams in the CFL, right? Just coming off of uh, less than ideal performances back to back. Actually,
Also,
yeah.
the Red Blacks are undefeated at home, so it's one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah,
And Montreal is
that'll be an
undefeated on the road.
afternoon game. Yeah,
No
that'll be
way.
an afternoon game. Yeah.
Undefeated on the road versus undefeated at home. Just
Montreal's
realized that.
only non-win at home was just a few minutes ago, the tie.
Yeah, which means that it's going to end in another tie.
Oh my God.
It's so unheard of. We've had next to no ties. Maybe for our bye week episode, we can research the number of ties that have. But I only remember watching 2 ever. Both of them involved Calgary and Ottawa, and this was many years ago. And now we have 2 ties in the same season. I wonder if ties keep happening, if they'll change the overtime rules to what they have in college football in the States, is where they'll keep playing mini games until somebody wins, even in the regular season. If ties keep happening with this, I wonder if they'll do that. I'm not saying I think they should, but it's just something that might get raised.
Yeah, something that might. Yeah, I am seeing like a little more increased ire about ties for regular season CFL games. I'm going, well, yeah. I mean, again, I hate it. I disagree with ties in hockey as well, right? Like I hated ties in hockey when I was a kid, right? It was uh, like I was old enough to remember those, right? And I was
Yeah.
no, you waste like 65 minutes of your life just for no result, right? Or just a tie.
That's relevant to me because you see, I'm a West Ham fan, and we tied this morning. I woke up at 7 in the morning to spend 2 hours watching a tie, but they did win it or tied in the final minute. Felt like a win, but
There you go.
go
Yeah.
on.
Soccer, well, I mean, soccer, I guess it's more ingratiated that ties happen more frequently, right? But
Yeah,
yeah, when it comes to football and hockey, I mean, when ties happen, it's annoying as hell, right?
it is.
And
It never
now,
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and then to end off, for week 16, and then we'll get into week 17 a little bit too. But week 16 it'll be a home and home Bombers and Elks. Bombers and Elks. For that game, I'm going to be recapping for a bonus episode, for a little wheel episode that we did a few weeks ago. Right, that's I'll be writing down notes for that game because I feel like that's an important game for BC to like really take notice of. It's like a home and home for both. So, I'm hoping Edmonton wins both of them.
Me
And
too.
that's the last time you're going to hear me, rooting for Edmonton in any capacity. But I do not like the Oilers.
I hate the Oilers with everything, but it
Yeah,
feels like the Edmonton Elks are like the nice team of Edmonton.
yeah, it's like how
I
I
felt
feel
really
with
bad for them.
it's like how I feel about the Pittsburgh Penguins, Steelers, and the Pirates. Right, like
Mhm.
I can't stand the Steelers and the Penguins, but the Pirates I don't hate as much.
They're cool.
Right? Yep. They, they are the redheaded stepchild of Pittsburgh. I'm like, okay, keep it that way, right? But yeah, anyways, yeah. So there's the home and home for Winnipeg and Edmonton, and then yeah, we got our game, Tiger Cats, and the Lions are hosting the Tiger Cats. That's the battle of the felines, right? Uh,
I'll be there. Jacob,
we
will you be there?
I will hope to go. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed.
So
fingers
hope to see you
crossed,
there.
and yeah, and yeah, and this game. This is a trap game, right? I mean, depending on if the Argos beat the Ticats, it's really going to be a trap game. But if the Ticats upset the Argos, then I'd say that's probably a little more terrifying because then the Ticats have a winning streak going, right? And oh god, they're getting hot now, right? Um, yeah, I did not think that this would be kind of like yeah, we've only got 4 weeks left in the season, like 4 games.
It feels crazy. And also,
And
the
there's a
final
third
week of the
bye week.
season, we don't play the final week of the season.
No, we don't. We've got
The
two bye
third,
weeks in the last 6 weeks, which crappy scheduling on the league's part. I hate that.
Yeah. 9 teams.
yeah. Well, I guess and I mean, we'll see how long our bonus episode goes. I mean, if there's any like remaining wheel slots, I guess we can do like a final wheel video for that third bye week. But I mean, yeah, it's weird that it kind of happens at the very end of the season, right?
The wheel is fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll be getting to that. Mm, Probably record the episode after the Elks game's over, so that'll be probably coming out the day of that episode will probably be coming out the day of the game. So that'll be I'm looking forward to that because just something fun for us to do rather than just dwell on the loss constantly. Like,
That'll be
I'm
lots
looking
of
forward to it.
yeah, and of course, yeah, preseason is going to be in full swing by then for NHL hockey too. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, let's
yep,
go.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, October's fast approaching, and it's going to be a kind of one of those months where, I mean, we do have to focus, completely on the CFL for our podcast, but yeah, it's there's a lot to watch
Maybe we'll
from
do
here
some
from here
Canucks
on
and
out.
bonus
Right?
content in the off season.
Yeah.
Yeah, Canucks and
214 thoughts.
maybe a little bit of Senators, a little bit, just yeah, just a little bit,
Bit of
but
Canucks talk.
yeah, primarily BC sports talk, but a little bit of my own teams and baseball and uh,
Also, speaking of BC baseball, Vancouver Canadians are playing the playoffs, and I love the Vancouver Canadians, so I hope they win tonight. I was at the game a couple nights ago,
Good luck
wish they
to
won.
them.
So good luck to them. Hope they win
yeah,
tonight in Spokane.
yeah, they're the enigma when it comes to just defying the Vancouver sports codes and winning consistently, like in their
Won it
what is
all
it,
last year.
double A baseball, I believe it is.
Single A baseball.
Single A, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they were consistently successful
It
and
is currently 1-1 in the ninth inning. So
Oh boy.
could be
tied,
talking
close
about
game.
walk-off territory. Yeah.
We are.
Okay,
Anyways,
so anyways, yeah, I guess mean, I guess I'll save talking about Red Blacks, Rough Riders, and Al's Argos for after our Tiger Cats Lions game, right? But yeah, so that'll be it for us today. So yeah, we'll see you in our bye week next Saturday. So toodaloo. Oh wait,
Bye.
no.
See you next
Oh
time.
wait, no.
Socials? Socials?
Socials.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, socials.
Yeah. Yeah, we almost forgot about that. Yeah, okay. So I'll do the socials too. So yeah. So yeah, you can reach us on by email at section214@gmail.com. So that's SECTION FOURTEN@gmail.com. And we're also on Twitter and Instagram at section214pod. You can also DM us at on the Reddit at section214pod as well. And we're also on Discord as well. If you want to contact us there.
Also follow me on Twitter at hammerfan_. I
Yeah,
tweet well.
you can follow me on Twitter at Ascent 007.
My Twitter remains a mystery. I just deleted the app on my phone. I'm taking a little break from it on my personal
Good for
account.
you.
I will still be tweeting our podcast stuff from the podcast account, but from my personal account, it's going dark for a little while.
Respect
Okay,
that.
that's a good good call there. So yeah, okay, so that's going to be a goodbye for us from now. So yeah, we'll see you next Saturday.
See ya.
Peace.